With the weather starting to warm up, the workload on the island was beginning to increase. After Gordon's recent accident, however, Henry was left to pull the express on his own. He was delighted at first, but quickly learned how tiring it can be. "Why so glum, Henry?"
"Bah, Gordon was reckless, and now I'm stuck with his work," said Henry.
"That's odd. I thought all you big engines loved pulling the express."
"Yeah, once in a while. I'm starting to feel stuffy, and it's only my 5th day."
"You know what you should do? You should ask the Fat Controller for side tanks and a bunker. You'll feel like a proper engine then. We tank engines never get tired, you know." Before Henry could reply, Thomas hurried away laughing. The next morning, Henry felt incredibly ill. He wasn't able to build up any steam. He was soon sent to the works, but this left the Fat Controller with very few ideas on what to do about the express. It was eventually decided Arthur would take over the express for the time being. However, on the day before Henry was due back, work on the Noramby branch had piled up and Arthur was needed back. This left the Fat Controller and Inspector in quite a predicament. No Arthur or Henry. Edward's already gone with his first passenger train. James has already left with his goods train as well. He'd be too far away to take the express on time by now.
The only other engine is Thomas.
What?
But he couldn't pull it on his own.
The Fat Controller pondered for a moment. Could he manage if Percy helped? The inspector shook his head. This is Stepney's last day on the island, correct? If he has time to spare, the three of them just might be able to do it. And so it was arranged. The 3 tank engines were coupled together, Stepney at the front, Percy behind him, and Thomas in front of the coaches. The passengers climbed into the coaches, and before long, the guard's whistle blew. It was time to be off. With a jolt, the 3 tank engines surged forward, filled with determination. They all chanted, "Hurry, hurry," in unison, and soon enough they were out on the main line. Now, the express isn't like branch line trains. They don't stop at every station along the line. This means the 3 engines never got the chance to stop and catch their breath. Soon, the engines began to feel tired, but there, just ahead of them, stood Gordon's Hill. They surged ahead, struggling up the hill, but the strain was beginning to show. At last, they crossed over the top and began coasting down the other side. "Oh, that was close," sighed Thomas. "I'm glad we didn't stick there. The big engines wouldn't let us hear the end of it." But he had spoken too soon. The whole ordeal had proven too much for Percy. His driver blew his whistle to warn the others, and the train came to a halt. "We can't take you off here," said Percy's driver. "Try your best to keep your brakes off. It's not much further to the workstation." This made the journey much harder for the other 2 engines, but they struggled on. As the works grew closer, they used every last ounce of strength and steam to summon a last brave effort to reach the workstation. "Nearly there. Nearly there," panted Stepney. "We can make it. We can make it," wheezed Thomas. Poor Percy had no steam left to say anything. At last, the workstation came into view. They were on the final approach when Stepney found he could simply go no further. Thomas couldn't pull the heavy coaches and push the other 2 on his own, so the cavalcade came to a stop, with the workstation right in front of them. There, watching nearby, was Henry and Gordon, both staring in disbelief at what they had just seen. The Fat Controller had been on the train, and he came to tell the engines how happy he was with them. "You all did very well to get this far, and I'm very proud of you." You shall have a long rest, and when you all come back to the yards, I shall have the men give you new coats of paint." The 3 tank engines were uncoupled from the train and moved off to a siding, while another engine was called in to take the express. As the tank engines moved away wearily, Gordon looked at Thomas and winked. He didn't need to say anything. Thomas knew exactly what he meant.